Hello, my name is Amina and I'm your decision-making specialist. And here we are in shelter in place, day 23, and it's April 8th, 2020. Welcome. I'm so glad you came. It's getting a little isolation fever here for me. And I was listening to our governor talk about all the statistics and how they do the measurements and so forth. And he was talking about wanting to not have the peak of the virus epidemic be so high and the death so many, and the hospitals just swamped so that they really can't take care of the people that need them so desperately. And so he talked, and the epidemiologists and public health people talk about flattening the curve. And the way he explained it, I liked, and I want to tell you, because he said that when you start to flatten the curve, you're actually stretching it out. And that stretching it out is sometimes what people don't understand, or maybe we just don't want to hear it, is that if we flatten it so it's not so severe at this point, it means that there's a longer tail to it. It doesn't mean that if we flatten it, we're home free. No, we still have to wash our hands, stay in place, wear our mask, not touch our face, and be very careful, because that determines part of the curve. So that if we're all doing our share, that also helps the share of everyone else and the doctors and the hospitals. And then everyone talks about a 2-week or 2.5-week lag time, so that the information they're telling us now about the number of infections may in fact be different in 2 or 2.5 weeks, when somebody could be carrying the virus and it just not show itself yet. And so in listening to that about the lag time and about the peak and smoothing out that curve, I started thinking about all of us who are getting ready for when we finally get to go out there, whatever out there is going to look like, I don't know. And we want to be ready. We want to be leaders inside ourselves, so we can stand strong for others, and so that we can mentor them, so that if they need help in them being strong, we know how to do it, because we've learned, we've practiced all of this time in shelter in place. We have been practicing being our very best self, getting to another level, writing our story for the life we want out there, and building our legacy. You know, we're also building our brand about who we are, what we stand for, what we value, and the principles that we use for the actions that we take. And my thought is that the way they describe those numbers is exactly how we learn new habits and new skills and new strategies. So those are actually descriptions of tools that we use and apply. So let's talk about that peak. Sometimes it's really necessary to make a decision immediately, just as fast as we can, with as much information as we have, and do it. Sometimes it's really important that we learn how to do something really fast, pick up the knowledge, change it into information, and apply it immediately. Very important to have that peak. However, if it's something that we want to learn and we want to sustain it and we want to use it for now and we want to use it in the future out there, then it's really wise, instead of cramming or making ourselves learn something so fast that it disappears, it's really important to us, to our brain, and to our longevity of that change, that shift we want to make. So that means that for us, if we don't have to, it's really very wise and helpful to be able to smooth out that peak and not make it so adrenaline driven or have to or must or should or a life depending on it or just rushing through and wanting to get it done. If we really want to retain it, and our brain understands that it's important and keeps it in our long-term memory, then we smooth out that peak, we smooth out that intensity, and we extend our time and our energy and our opportunity so that we go just a little more slowly, step by step, build the foundation, understand what we're doing, have time to check to see if it's working, and be able to adjust it along the way. Very important. So sometimes we need the peak, just get it done. Other times, most of the time, whenever possible, smooth out that peak and take the longer road. Because you know why? Sometimes when we use that peak and we don't have to, and then we try to remember something, we have to go back, reread it, restudy it, reapply it. So all of those do-overs actually can take longer than if we just stretch it out in a very steady place with one foot in front of the other. And we don't have to keep back here. Let me find out what I said. Let me find out what they meant. Oh, let me see. And 1 foot forward and 2 back. Any way you want to put it, it's always faster if we learn along the way, make our adjustments, so each time we take a step forward, we know it's getting us more of what we want, building a habit so that it becomes unconscious. And then the bonus is that when there is a peak, we have all that back knowledge, all that back process that we've already done and learned unconsciously. That helps us when we have another peak. So there's no way to lose in this process. Now, something really important that most of us don't pay attention to, and that is 2 things. One is how we measure our progress. A lot of times we look way up out there, and that's how we measure it. Oh my gosh, I'm still here. I'm not out there. I'm still here, not there. And we're so busy looking there that we're not really focused on right here, which is where we learn how to use what we're changing and shifting, how to make it real in ours, and how to use it now and use it to prevent the peaks in the future if we can. Very important how we measure. So I want you to measure where you started to where you are now. Oh, wow. Okay, all right, I'm getting somewhere. It's moving, I'm moving. Yes. All right. And do remember to slow down sometimes and celebrate in the middle of what can seem like a perfect storm can actually turn out to be a perfect opportunity to learn, to be different, to have a new experience that you never thought of before. So look into that perfect storm and see what you can find that you can take out and use it for out there to be that leader that you want, to be your very best. Now, the really, really, really importantest thing, they're all important, and the best that I want you to remember is about that lag time, because we sometimes try to do things differently. We practice and we do it and we practice. We're faithful, we're committed, and we look and we think, I don't see much difference. I don't feel different. Nothing else is happening unless I think this isn't going to work and I'm going to give up. Don't give up if it's something you really want and you are honest with yourself that there are little eyelash moments of the shift in the direction that you want. Keep doing it, because I read a book a long time ago by William Bridges, and he talked about transitions. And he explained in that book that when we begin to make a change and we notice the difference, there is a lag time. In fact, sometimes we're the last ones to know. Somebody else will notice the change because they're not right in the middle of it. They're not just focused on it. And they'll notice the changes. And one day we reach a tipping point and we can see the difference between then and now, between the way we were and the way we are, the way we used to be and the way we want to be. So be patient. Oh, I know, there's that P word again. I want you to do something for at least 21 days, 2 weeks, and then figure out if it's helping or not. You will not have lost 2 weeks, because even if it turns out to not be exactly what you want, you've learned along the way. You've learned tools and skills and strategies that will help you shift the way you're doing it, or shift what you're doing. And the idea is you've learned something that you can take with you for every change that you want to make. So pay attention to the lag time. Pay attention to if you really want a peak in your curve when you're learning this time, when you want to smooth it out and let it stretch, and always to measure where you started to where you are now. It's only fair. And that will help you be the leader that you already are, and be the person who writes that story the way you want and lives that life so much and loves it that you want to share. And remember, it's building your legacy of shifting and changing, elevating yourself, stepping up to the level that you want to be when you go out there. All right, write the story. Remember the peak, the smoothing out, the lag time, and how you measure it. Take care. Come back. I will be here, let me tell you. And if you haven't already, press that subscribe button, please, and share with others if this is helpful to you. Write your comments. I would like to know what you're learning during your in-place shelter. All right, take care. Bye for now. Come back, because I will be looking for you. You're important. Stay well. Stay safe. Thank you. Bye now.